You just finished shooting a couple of high-paid gigs and you're thinking to yourself, hey, I should go ahead and start shooting in ProRes RAW. Why not? It looks great, but you don't know all the drawbacks about shooting in ProRes RAW, and it can be a headache. Make sure you have aspirin on hand. Guys, this is my $10,000. No. Guys, this is my $15,000. No. Guys, this is my I don't even know how much it costs. All I know is I've sunk way too much money into it, and at this point, it doesn't even matter what it costs. All you need to know is it's expensive. Look, I get it. We're all film nerds. We want to shoot in the highest resolution, in the highest bit rate, in the flattest logs so that we can color grade like Da Vinci himself in DaVinci Resolve. It didn't quite make any sense, but it sounded good on the inside. We want to shoot with the best. We want our wedding that we're shooting to look like a Netflix film, basically, but there's just a few problems with it. And there's some things that you just may not have thought of. So I'm gonna give you some tips about what I've learned from shooting in ProRes and this whole RAW nightmare and everything that comes around with it that you should know before you go out and buy a bunch of stuff that you may not know have other things that you need to buy with it. Number one, first of all, just know that you cannot internally record ProRes RAW into any camera right now. So that means you're going to need to buy an external recorder. Now, there's a few of them out there, but the best one is definitely gonna be the Atomos Inferno. Now, you can get a few different Atomos Infernos, but like I said, if we're going to assume that you want the very best, that means you want to shoot in 4K 60p ProRes RAW at 60 frames a second. So that means you need to pay $1,300 for this monitor. You're like, I can do that, $1,300? That's not that bad. I charge that much for a wedding. No problem. Cool, you can buy a monitor. Know what else needs to come with the monitor? Batteries. Oh, and these aren't your normal type of batteries. Well, they kind of are. These are your Sony MPF750s. Very normal. They don't last terribly long, so you need to make sure you get more than one if you want to record for more than 20 minutes. You should buy a bunch of them. That will add up to a few $100 very quickly. I'll be honest, guys, buying batteries for the monitor is probably going to be one of the cheapest things that you're going to have to spend at this point. Shooting in ProRes RAW is great, but the file sizes are rather big. Let's break this down for a minute. So I actually haven't even shot in full-on RAW yet. I've just been shooting in ProRes 4K 10-bit, which is still insane and ridiculous. Now, the file sizes for it are going to be huge, and you need to be prepared for that. So 10 seconds of ProRes RAW 4K 10-bit, no, 12-bit, sorry. 10 seconds is 1.3 gig. 1.3 gig, guys. So you're gonna need to make sure that you have something that can record to that. Now, obviously, there's no SSD out there that's that fast right now that can record, that format. You're gonna have to buy an SSD, and you're gonna have to pay a lot of money for it. There's a few options here that you can get. Atomos makes their own version, and I think G Drive makes their own version as well. Whatever that weird company name is. You can buy these sleeves made by Atomos to where then you can go to Best Buy and get about 500 gigs of SSD for around 80 bucks, and then you put that sleeve in here, and then for 80 bucks you have 500 gigs. Just know you will go through that very, very quickly. I shot a short film recently, a short fan film. I was shooting in ProRes 422 4K. We shot for about half a day, and I had about 200 gigs of data. You have to know, in narrative film, we're only shooting a few seconds and maybe doing a couple of takes. So that's not a lot. And when it was all said and done, I believe at the end of the day, we had around 40 clips, which are definitely no longer than about 30 seconds. And that was just ProRes 422 4K. I'm saying a lot of numbers. Now, the other thing is you gotta have a camera that can support ProRes RAW. There's a handful of them out there, and I know the new Nikon Z6 supports it, and that's probably gonna be the smallest, latest one. I like to shoot on the FS5, because that's what I have. It supports it, which is great. However, it comes with some drawbacks for sure. The size, it's a bit big by the time you rig all this up. especially with this huge monitor. Not to mention, guys, you need to make sure you have the other monitor so you can see what's going on the camera, and then have this monitor so that you can see what's going on the screen. Assuming that you're shooting in the highest format possible that's available to this date as of 2019, you're not gonna wanna slap a kit lens on there. You're most likely gonna wanna put some cine glass on there. Now, right now, I do have the very extravagant Fujinon 50 to 135. Yes, 50 to 135, which is a T2.9. Fantastic lens, but it's about $4,500. So take that for what it's worth. But let's assume you're shooting on cine glass. If you are shooting on cine glass because you are a film nerd and you want to shoot in the highest format possible, you are going to have these weird gear things on your lens. That's for this, so that you can rack focus. So you can't use autofocus, and you cannot use Canon's great dual pixel autofocus or Sony's quick IAF. You're gonna be stuck with having to do it manually. And just know that if you try to do it by hand and say, oh, I don't need to buy this nice little gear knob thing, you're very much mistaken, because if you put your hands on a lens that's 135 millimeters and try to focus it, you're gonna notice some incredible shaking. Now, you also have to have some type of mount that you can put all this on, because you need like some tubes to add this onto here, and then this needs to go onto a tripod. And then also, don't forget, once you've got all this, you're stuck on a tripod. You're not gonna be going around getting your sweet gimbal shots, really, and you're not gonna be able to go running through the woods chasing an actor. You're not gonna be able to like hold it really steady while you're driving, hanging outside of a car. These are just some of the things that I wanted to kind of spitball at you. If you're thinking about shooting in ProRes RAW, just know it takes up a lot of memory, guys. Make sure you have a system that can edit all this footage, because it's so much footage. It's a lot of footage. It's ridiculous. And I know it's jam-packed with data so that you can color grade the crap out of it, which is awesome. But does your computer have only 500 gigs? If it does, then you're kind of screwed, and then you're gonna need to go buy an SSD so you can edit the footage off of the SSD onto your computer. It's ridiculous. Very time consuming. If you need quick turnaround projects, it's not going to happen. You need to take your time on these things so that they're done correctly. Anyway, guys, I hope I didn't ramble too much. Thank you for tuning in to Walkthrough Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and tune back in next week, where I will be talking about, I haven't decided yet actually, but I will come up with either photography or videography tip, and we will go from there. So tune back in, guys. If you like the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification button, like, it really does help. Comment below, I really appreciate it. The YouTube algorithm is weird and fun to understand. So yeah, anyway, I will see you guys next week.